Podtacular, the unofficial Halo Universe podcast, presents episode 891, Unending Winter, recorded live on December 5th, 2024. Hello everyone, welcome to Podtacular, the unofficial Halo Universe podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Duststorm.
I'm your other co-host, Godzilla T.
And it's been a while. We've had some life stuff go on. There's not been a lot of Halo news stuff. Last week was Thanksgiving for us in the US, so we're doing, I think this might be our last podcast for the year. We'll see what happens. There are some interviews I need to get lined up that I've been neglecting to do because life has happened. Kind of is just how it is. But last week, again, like I said, was Thanksgiving here in the U.S., so DT and I were off spending time with family. The week before, though, however, we got to play some Dig Site E3 demo. I have that recorded. I haven't thrown it up on YouTube yet. Planning on doing that, just haven't gotten around to it. But figure we talk first impressions and talk about the rest of our little game nights that we've been doing for the last few weeks. So, GT, what are your thoughts on the E3 Halo 2 demo?
Well, I mean, it pretty much was what they showed back at E3, just being playable. You can definitely tell it's a demo. There are things that are just glitchy about it. I mean, the being immortal part, that's always nice.
Kind of need that for demo's sake.
Yeah, you don't want the guy dying on big screen. I really enjoyed it. It was nice to be able to play that. Like I said when we were actually playing through it, when I originally saw it, I knew at that moment I would never be able to interact with this. I knew that it would be something that would never be in a Halo game. It's just there to show off. To actually be able to play that is just something really special. And I applaud the Dig Site team for doing it, because from an earlier video that they did where they found an old build of it and played it on stream, it was not the most polished thing out there, as most demos are. I mean, they generally put stuff together and they cross their fingers and hope it works while they're on stage.
Right.
It was like that for the original Halo game. When it was still a third person. That demo is something they slapped together just weeks before they showed it off.
And the potential for crashes was still there, but
oh yeah,
the live demo temptations.
With that one, they had to be very careful literally how they played the game. Because if they did certain things, the build would crash. And with Halo 2, it was the same way. They had to be very methodic about what paths were taken, probably what order enemies were killed in, what pieces were destroyed. I have no doubt that the path that was taken was very heavily scripted. As to you walk here, 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 and here, and not there.
Yeah.
So
we saw some of that when we were playing through it. How if you went too far ahead too quickly, because of the scripting with the AI, you had to kind of backtrack in order for it to work. In some cases, it just completely broke.
Yeah.
So
I played through it.
That script.
Yeah.
I
played through it the night before just to make sure the mod was working. Because sometimes my installation of mods don't install right for some reason. I've had that problem with the cursed Halos. They'll install, but they won't show up. I don't know. I mean, it's pretty simple. You'd think you just add the library and it's there, but sometimes it just doesn't show up. Now, with one of the cursed Halos, there was an issue with a version number, which
that was an old. Yeah, that was from a while ago when we think that was the first Cursed Halo that we played.
Yeah, that was the first Cursed Halo. But it's like for the Halo Reach one, was it Reach? Yeah. Reach, I had to install it like 2 or 3 times. I had to remove it and reinstall it before it would even show up.
We haven't played through that one yet, have we?
Well, I kind
We did
of
ODST.
I kind of looked ahead a little bit.
That's fair.
Anyway,
we'll finish ODST soon and we'll hop on to Reach.
Sorry, I just had to see Goku George. Or Saiyan George. Anyway.
That's fair. That's fair.
But even with the ODST mod, it still took me a couple of installs to get it to actually show up in the menu. You know, they're just some of the mods, and they're mods. I mean, they're not.
Yeah.
These are people doing this in their spare time. I don't expect it to be perfect.
Right.
But I would expect that the game would recognize the mod has been installed, because that is something that is done by a corporation that has the talent, that has the depth of employees to fix stuff like that. You know, it's one thing that the mod is not playable. That's on the person that generates the mod. The mod just not flat showing up. Yeah, that one I got to kind of lean towards the game developer. And I know mods are relatively new to this
Halo
space
ecosystem.
In this form, I should say. Mods have been around for the PC since Halo CE. You know, people were modding it before the mod tools were even released. Over the years, the mod tools have gotten tremendously better. People have learned more about the game, more about what needs to happen when they're building mods to make them work correctly. But yeah, no, all in all, I'm really impressed with the Dig Site team and the stuff that they've added. It would be nice for any of those recovered maps. They haven't put them in matchmaking, have they? They were just only playable in customs.
Right. Until I know this has been the question that a lot of people have asked for. Until mods come to Xbox, there's not going to be any reason to put them into matchmaking. There's a desire for it. But yeah,
like I said, with those maps, they can add to the Xbox version. They could update the Xbox version to include those maps. Not necessarily a mod.
They'd have to add the map files as part of the official install.
Right.
They could do that, but
yeah, like I said, you know, I can understand not adding Cursed Halo to Xbox. You know, that's not within the wheelhouse of what they should be doing. But these maps that they've recovered, these multiplayer maps, that's something that I kind of feel is in their wheelhouse. And it's something they could do. I'm not saying they will, but it's within the realm of possibility for them to do and support.
Oh, technically, 100%. That's only one piece of the puzzle is the technical ability.
Yeah. There's a lot more to that little pie but it would be nice to see, even if it was just a weekend playlist, to bring that stuff to MCC for, you know, all players. That would be great. And that would be fun to allow the people that do not have access to the PC versions a chance to experience some of this stuff.
Yeah. There are some other games now that Bethesda's under Microsoft that have console mod support. It's a little bit more limited, and there's a curation of those mods by the developers to allow them to be installed and played on console. But there is now a track record, I guess, via acquisition that you can do it on console. It's just 343 has to put in the time, or not 343. Still got to get used to that name change. Halo Studios has to put in the time and effort for someone to curate the content, dig through it, make sure there's not anything nefarious in there, and then go through
game
the
breaking.
proper.
Yeah.
Right. Well, game breaking is subjectable because there's game breaking stuff that even
well, I mean,
the main games
they have to make sure that the mod's stable.
Even the main games aren't stable.
They're better than some of the mods out there.
Well, true.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Halo games don't have any bugs in them. Of course they do. We've talked about them many times on the podcast. I mean, they do. They would have to verify that there's nothing malicious in the code. They'd also have, within reason, they'd have to verify that the stability of the mod.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they want to make sure that as soon as you install it, it doesn't brick your Xbox, stuff like that. Make sure that you can at least attempt to play the mod, and then they'd have to have some way to be able for the author to update the mod when they make changes, as to correct crashing issues, stuff like that. So, I mean, there's a lot to go through that on the Xbox side, and the reason being is because you generate the mod. Well, then they have to verify the mod, and then they have to put it in a special marketplace for the Xbox.
It has to go through certification. It has to go through
it's just like any of these Forge maps that we get in matchmaking from any of the forging communities. They go through multiple steps before they're even remotely considered to go live in matchmaking.
Unless you're unique and just get all your maps featured.
Well, I mean, once you develop a reputation, then that path gets streamlined.
Yes.
For two reasons. One, you're a known factor to the company. Two, you get better at making the maps and fixing the mistakes before they go in for review. So there's less back and forth. Oh, no, you need to fix this. No, you need to fix this now. You need to fix this. So there's less of that back and forth because the forger has corrected for all that before they even submit the map to begin with.
Right.
And as the forgers get more popular, then they get more and more opportunity to do test sessions on the map.
Mm-hmm.
To validate that the frame rate stays consistent, to validate that there's no gaping holes in the maps, validate that it supports all the game types correctly that they have designed the map for.
Exactly.
Yeah, imagine doing that with a full campaign mod. That's a lot of freaking work.
It is.
And Microsoft has already shown that they don't want to put that much into Halo.
I hope that changes. I hope Microsoft realizes the opportunities they keep throwing away with Halo, especially with all the stuff that we learned about.
I think that they will continue to support Halo, but I don't think it will ever be the flagship game as it was.
Time will tell.
I mean, time will tell. I
remain hopeful, but to be realistic, I think whatever is this next project that they come out with that's on Unreal and everything, this has got to land out the gate. We're already outside the 3-year cycle. Granted, Infinite already was. But there's got to be some point where if Halo Studios was given the flexibility that Bungie had and wasn't restricted to all the oversight, like the whole 18-month contractor thing, the projects that get thrown up there as ideas and then just discarded, and update with how gaming at an industry level is done nowadays, which how Bungie did it with Halos when it came out, and the gaming industry now is completely different. Halo has the potential to be a solid franchise. It's just there's been so many things to prevent that from happening.
Well, it's been mismanaged on multiple levels. I'm not absolving 343. They have made decisions that have affected Halo. But a lot of the decisions that they made were as a result of other decisions made by the people that pay the bills. So Microsoft is not innocent in this either.
Well, neither are.
Yeah, neither are. The thing I want out of the next Halo game is I want a good story and I want to own the game. I do not want to rent the game.
Well, you don't really own any games anymore because...
No, I want to be able to fire up the campaign anytime I want. Multiplayer is a different thing. I don't want to have to pay a monthly subscription to play the campaign. And I don't necessarily want to require... I would really not require an internet connection to be able to get the full experience out of the campaign. I know that the industry as a whole is moving away from that.
I guess I haven't tested it, but I agree with you. You shouldn't need the internet to play campaign. I mean, maybe to update it and check in if there's new things, but...
Well, when it comes to the campaign
you don't have to have
side,
a subscription in order to play the campaign. If you've paid
no, you
for
don't.
the campaign...
No, you don't. But the models of the games that are coming out are moving, and with the way Microsoft is moving in other directions, it's a pay to play. I don't want them to bring that model to the game studios. Any of the game studios, not just Halo. Because if it turns out to be like that, I'm out. I'm gone. I
don't think they do that for campaign. Multiplayer, I can see that being, because that's just where the industry is and that's where the money is.
I will buy map packs. I will pay for my Xbox Live.
We're never going back to map packs. Map packs are done.
Like I said,
it's never happening again.
This is the way. This is what I will pay for. I will pay for map packs. I will pay for my Xbox Live. I will not pay real money for any game modifiers, like anything that gives you an edge in the game. I'm not spending money on that. Cosmetics are highly questionable, especially with what they've come out so far in Infinite. I want to be able to access classic looks. I mean, stuff that's been in the game forever. Special stuff? No, let me finish. Special stuff, like the fact that I wear George's armor in Infinite, I would have paid for that. Matter of fact, I probably would have bought the whole Noble Team set. I would have paid for earlier versions of Master Chief's armor if it wasn't so stupidly overpriced. That's the other thing they got to get a hold on, is they need to cut back on the pricing on that stuff. I understand that it's there to make money, but overcharging is overcharging.
Yeah, but people are paying for it.
The sad part is people are paying for it.
That's the thing. People are paying for it. Like, a lot of us core Halo people don't like it, but if and I mean this in the most sincere way possible, if the normies are paying for it,
mm-hmm.
and they're making the money off of it, you'd be stupid not to, right?
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's ever going to change. I mean, it's kind of one of those facts of life. They figured out you'll pay for it, so they're going to charge you for it. It's the same thing as happened with electronics prices. Everything's higher than it used to be because they figured out you'll pay the extra money. Whether it's FOMO or whether it's... Doesn't matter. They figured out that you will shell out the money for it. Yeah, basically. And they don't care. They don't care if you get one of their graphics cards or one of their consoles or one of their games or not. As long as you're paying for it. And the only way to make the difference to that is to not pay for it. And it's not going to happen. You're not going to get an entire nation to stop buying. It's not just a nation, it's worldwide. Well, we're the largest consumers for a lot of that stuff. We are a large consumer, yes. But there are other countries out there. I'm not saying there's not, but also in a lot of those other countries, pricing is a little different. Well, most of the other countries, pricing is more expensive. Depends on which country. Europe, yes. Most countries are more expensive. Canada, yeah. Sure. Japan, probably. If you go and look at comparative prices for things overseas, like I said, I don't. Like I said, but yes, the pricing is directly related to what country you live in as to how much they can get away with charging you. There are also, it's just, and that's for all goods. It's not relegated to just video games. All the manufacturers have figured out that they can jack the prices through the roof, and you'll still pay it.
That's called a monopoly, kids.
There is
not quite, but
no, that's not a monopoly. It's
no. That's the market we live in.
Price gouging is what it is.
Hey, if the demand is there's that whole thing of supply and demand. You learn that in economics.
Well, I don't want to go any further because I'm about to get political on it, and I don't want to do that on this podcast.
Back to topic then. Our little Podtacular update. Which we were talking about the E3 demo.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Sorry for the rant. It just kind of went. Anyway, it's all Bobby's fault. Anyway, I enjoyed it. It was great that they brought that to the game. And they actually gave us the free roam, so where we kind of explore it.
I'm surprised. I know I'm
Dust found a really deep hole and got stuck.
I did. Because you're invincible, there are plenty of holes around the map area that you can easily fall in.
Mm-hmm.
Prime example, the little troughs roads that I forget what the Covenant ships are, but the ones that have the upside down U and you shoot them with the Gauss hog as you're driving by. I forget what those are called, but you can end up going down there, whether jumping down there or taking a hog down there, and because you're invincible, you get to walk around the bottom of the map. There's no way up. But the thing that was coolest to me was how small the map actually was. And watching the demo, it felt big.
Oh yeah.
And
it's amazing.
I didn't realize it the first time we played through, but the second time that we played through, because if you play the mod, there's 3 modes of the map, I guess, so to speak. There's the actual demo with all the scripting and what you see during the E3 video. There's a open world, which is no AI, no scripting whatsoever. You just get to walk around the entire map. And then there's one that has all the AI in it, but you can kind of walk around freely a bit. The last 2 are kind of just an open world explorer type of thing. But playing through the first time, I didn't realize it, but playing through the second time, when you can drive off in any direction that you want to, I didn't realize that after you go through the wreckage of the city and the ship there, you actually make a U-turn and you end up driving by where you spawned on the Pelican pad and then go off into another section to finish the mission, which is getting boarded by the brute, getting jacked out, and then you go and jack a ghost, which we experimented with after seeing some other content creators post their videos of playing and seeing that you auto jack the ghost. So if you're in the warthog and you drive by the ghost, it'll jump you out of the hog and you auto jack the ghost. And there's some quirky things that you can do with that, given how the scripting works and what you can do with the vehicles and whatnot. Also, since it's co-op enabled, that throws another wrench into the scripting aspect of it too. So that's fun. But yeah, I didn't realize how small of a map it was actually on, and with just how they laid everything out, it made it feel that much bigger. And that just is a testament to the map design and the layout that they had just for this demo alone.
They just had a very, very calculated pathing to take to make it feel like it's bigger than it really is. I mean, it's only like 2 blocks by 2 blocks. You know, it's pretty much it.
It's a smallish map. You could, if it wasn't just for the single entry into the second area of the map, it could probably be a big team map. Yeah. It's a little big, but you could probably make it into a big team map.
But yeah, it was definitely impressive, and I enjoyed it.
It was fun to play after 11 years of 21 years, not 11 years, 21 years. So thank you, Dig Site team. If you get a chance to play the mod, if you have the PC version, the opening credits and the ending credits are really cool additions to the mod. They pulled the little sprite out of Johnson kicking the grunt, and they used that as part of the loading screen for the starting credits. They even had a little pre-roll in there with Johnson explaining the simulation and the played interaction with the stagehands for the demo, because it wasn't just shown on the stage; it was also shown in behind closed doors. So it was the same opening video every single time. And then at the end, they give credits to people that helped out. There were several ex-Bungie people that helped bring this to life, contributing assets, contributing backstory, and other assets from other builds of the game. And I think there was some point in there, I don't think this was necessarily in the credits, but either hearing from someone else or seeing it somewhere, I don't remember where I saw this, but whenever 343, now Halo Studios, because they were 343 back in the day, when they actually showed off the build, when Sketch said he found the Xbox and they played the build on stream, that seemed to actually garner interest to make the build playable and get the dig site team to bring this to life. And that caught the attention of a lot of ex-Bungie people that started to actually help this thing come to life. So Marcus Lato was a big contributor to this in the credits that they posted at the end. Several other ex-Bungie people, and even some more current Halo developers and modders also helped out as well. I think General Heed was shouted out in the credits too for working on fixing some of the scripting and other modding pieces in there. So there's ex-Bungie people, there's current Halo modder people that really did a lot of work to bring this to life. And just kudos to everyone that made this a reality, because everyone wanted to play this mod when it came out. Between the dual mode BR, the jacking animation that was brand new at the time, and just the way that this demo played feels like a pretty significant departure than what we got with Halo 2. And if you know the development backstory, which half of the content creators have covered at this point, even us, when we reviewed the Vice article, it was trouble development, and they basically scrapped everything they had with Halo 2 and built Halo 2 from scratch in like the last 9 months leading up to the game's release. That's the E3 demo. The only other thing that's actually, funny enough, Halo 2 related was the Delta Arena playlist, which I believe the last podcast we had, you hadn't played any of the Delta Arena yet.
Yeah, I played some
very little. So I think at this point you've probably had some experience now. So what was your thoughts?
Well, we've had a couple of game nights where we started out in there. I mean, it plays like similar to Halo 2. It is not quite the same as Halo 2.
No.
The new SMG takes a little bit of figuring out.
The MA5K.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
It's actually more consistent than the AR is.
Yeah, but
once you figure out,
so difficult. It feels like it has no magnetism compared to the AR or any of the other weapons.
Well, actually, if you're within its cone, it stays pretty well on target.
But that's pretty close.
Like I said, they did script it as a close range weapon. I mean, this thing, you're well within regular shotgun range, not Halo Infinite shotgun range, to effectively use this thing. I'm sorry, the shotguns in Halo Infinite, their range is way too much. I mean, when they're competing with a battle rifle for kills, that's just too much.
Now, the special variant of the shotgun, that shotgun range is ridiculously long.
I mean, I'm just talking about the regular shotgun. The special campaign ones, okay, fine.
Yeah.
But I'm just talking the regular shotguns. But anyway, back to the playlist. The maps are fun. It does take adjusting because, you're used to having the Spartan abilities, the sprint, the clamber, all that stuff. So it does take a little bit to get used to. All the maps that I played, they did a really good job. They scaled them appropriately for the lack of sprint, although it still felt slow to me. Just the pace of the game felt slow. It wasn't bad. It just was slow. And I've always felt that way about Halo without sprint. I don't know what it is. Just without that particular mechanic, the games, I'm not saying that the games are any longer or any shorter. It's just the feel of the game, pace of the game feels much slower.
Yep. That's just, in my opinion, how it is. Even going back and playing Halo CE 2 and 3 on MCC. You take Halo 4, well, Halo Reach is kind of in the middle ground because sprint is an ability, so you don't have sprint all the time if you have a different loadout. So Reach is in that middle ground, but 4 and on, since it has sprint natively built in, it natively feels faster.
Mm-hmm.
And since every game, since basically the late 2000s, early 2010s, have had sprint as a core mechanic for every shooter game, or any first-person game, really. Not even every first-person game. Third-person games, adventure games have sprint built into them. So sprint is just a mechanic if you're controlling a player in most games these days. So since that's the new norm, going back to the older games that didn't have sprint, they do feel slower. And that's not a bad thing. That's just the reality of it. But I think that is a key contributor to say that how they were able to modify the game settings in Infinite to make it feel like Halo 2 was moderately successful. And I feel like other aspects of the Delta Arena playlist, the fact that they removed Clamber, that there's collision with your allies now too, so you could.
That I wish they'd bring to the whole game.
I wish so too.
I get tired of walking through people.
Yeah, I could see them not doing it for the big team battle because there's 12v12.
No, it needs to be there. I'm tired of somebody walking through me. I fire a rocket and it kills me because I didn't know they were freaking there.
So that's something I wish they would do something. I don't think they could, but I completely agree with you on that. And I wish there was some kind of safety zone where, okay, if a player walks in front of you within the first half second or 1 second, if you would shoot and you blow yourself up, there needs to be like a safety cone where I can't see if someone's going to phase through me. So if someone phases through me at the second I decide to pull my trigger, I shouldn't be punished for it because that's a game mechanic that you enforced on. Yeah,
you know players. How they fix that? They turn on collision. Then it's not a problem.
Yeah, but
it's
then
like
adds a whole lot of extra processing power that they may not have spec'd for the server. Yes, could it be done? Technically, yeah.
Well, they've already proven they can do it.
Right.
Like I said, it's, I mean, really, in big team battle is where you need it the most. Because you have multiple bodies running around you at all times.
Yeah. And the grenade jumping is there. They brought it in the previous update, fully there for Halo 2. So this was, given all the updates that they've made to Halo Infinite to undo all the decisions that they made to make it not feel like Halo, they're finally at a point where they could make a classic Halo experience in modern Halo and actually make it feel good. And this, I think the closest thing that we would have to that is the Halo CE map pack that they did for Reach. And sure, Halo 4, Halo 5, you could toggle off a lot of the settings. Some of the settings were still there, but I think this was the truest return to form. Well, I guess Halo 2 Anniversary, if you want to consider that, because it's the Halo 4 engine, but it's Halo 2 map, so you can consider that as a close one. But it was it's obviously the Halo Infinite weapons sandbox, but it's the movement mechanics that pretty closely align to Halo 2. Sure, the jumping height might be a little different, but the maneuverability is all the same as it was in Halo 2, and that felt pretty good.
Yeah, it truly reminded me of why I don't play the older matchmaking anymore. I'm not joking.
Enjoy it. I mean,
don't get me wrong. I will fire up MCC every once in a while, and I'll go through it and I'll play a few games of CE or Halo 2 or 3-ish, usually 1, and I'm done. But
you need to have a throwback night here at some point soon.
I've
been holding off on MCC matchmaking a little bit. I've dabbled into some of it. Still trying to unlock all the customization stuff in MCC because I actually like that unlock system. But I think people have heard, and if you haven't, there's major issues with MCC. We've talked about it on here a couple of different times over the last 4 or 5 months, but the hackers in the game, booting people from matches, and just wreaking havoc in matchmaking. So I've kind of dabbled in it, but haven't gotten too far into matchmaking because I don't want to get grief like that or risk my account being banned from Halo.
Yeah. Like I said, I have not fired up. I probably haven't fired up an MCC multiplayer match in 6 months. Like I said, I don't play it that often. Honestly, I enjoy regular Infinite's multiplayer. I enjoyed 5's multiplayer. The only reason I don't play 5 is because everybody's moved to Infinite.
There's still some people playing 5.
There's still people playing, but
as I have the Twitch stream open just to monitor chat and everything, Nated of all people is playing Halo 5 Guardians right now.
Yeah, like I said, there are still people playing it, but it's a very small group.
And that very small group is probably very sweaty.
Exactly. It's like if I want to play, I mean, really there's only a couple playlists that really have a deep population, and the Super Fiesta playlist is one of them. But other than that,
maybe I'll boot up Halo 5 tonight, just play a couple games and see how it feels. I haven't played Halo 5 in such a long time.
Yeah. I honestly don't even know if I have it installed on my Series X. I usually play it on my Scorpio, but then I got to move the cable.
I think, didn't for the Series X, didn't they deploy a patch that you could play at 120 for Halo 5? Or am I thinking? Because I know it's not XS optimized, but I thought I
don't know if they did or not.
I'll have to check. I'm curious.
I honestly never really checked into it because I always just fired up my Scorpio to play it. Because the hard drive on the Series X is not that big,
right?
Considering I have 2 games on it, or 3 games on it, and it takes up over half the hard drive.
On your Series X or your Xbox One?
On my Series X.
And I have 5 games on it, and I still got like a quarter of my storage space left.
Yeah,
I've got Skyrim, I've got Fortnite, I've got
one of the
Halo,
games I have on there is
Infinite.
Destiny.
Oh, and that's like a 200 gig game or something like that?
Yeah. Infinite is not exactly a slouch either.
No, it's like, what, 120 at this point?
And then the other one is MCC.
That's a big one.
Yeah. Like I said, they're not small games. There's just not a lot of room left. And I'm not saying Halo 5 takes up a whole bunch. I mean, I think, 3 gigs? 3 or 5 gigs, something like that.
No, I think it's closer to 11.
Anyway. But yeah, I tend to keep I mean, honestly, I could remove Destiny from the Xbox because I don't play it on Xbox anymore. And I could put Halo 5 on. I mean, that I could do. I play it on PC whenever I play it, but I haven't touched it in 2 months. I haven't been playing a lot of video games recently, and the whole life thing keeps getting in the way.
It does.
It's amazing what happens when you actually go into management, how little time you actually have.
I definitely feel that. I've been acting for those that work government, I've been working as a 15 for almost a year now, and still waiting for the position I'm acting in to be filled. So there's lots of management stuff going on, and it's been really, really busy.
Yeah.
I'm going to attempt to remote install Halo 5 from the Xbox app, see if it actually works. Here's Halo 5.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. Download to another console. Do I actually already have it installed? Oh, it's already installed on my Series X, so I don't need to install it. I'll just launch it and see.
It probably just needs 27 updates.
I don't think it's updated since last time I played it, but it'll be interesting to find out. Yeah. Last thing. Gosh, we've actually been talking about the Podtacular update section for over 30 minutes. That's pretty rare. Although we did have the tangent. We had
I took care of 15 minutes of that. Anyway.
Yeah. There was a fun little clip that Bobby managed to clip 2 weeks ago during our game night. We were on the Rat's Nest, the multiplayer map.
I think that's what it was, yeah.
We were on Squad Battles, Rat's Nest, and I had said, why are GT and I at the top of the leaderboard? That should never happen. And Bobby said, give me a minute. And this was within the last 30, 40 seconds of the game.
Oh, this is, like the last 90 seconds of the game.
Yeah. And he got a double kill and several assists or something and he popped to the top of the leaderboard. If you haven't seen the clip, I think he posted it in the Discord.
Yeah, he posted it in the Discord in the game nights chat, I believe.
It's a fun little quick clip, and it was just one of those funny moments at the time, and it was just chef's kiss. Like, you couldn't have planned that better.
Mm-hmm.
So give that a check out if you want. And I think that's pretty much it for.
Oh, and to preface this, I just want to let you know that neither me or Dust were actually slaying out.
No, we were just playing. I mean, I think part of it we were in warthogs. I think I
think both of us were in double digits. But, it was only like 10 or 11. Yeah, so we weren't like 40 kills, but it's still funny.
Yeah. And I was in a good mood that week, and I was singing out all of what we were doing, and overall it was a great night. Like, that was probably one of the better game nights that we had in a while, and it was mostly squad battles. And I think, I was King of the Hill, so GT and I were playing objective, and I think we were driving each other with warthogs, so we managed to get a bunch of kills and scoring off the hill and whatnot. But yeah, Bobby's like, give me a minute, and within the minute, he managed to take the lead at the end, and there he is at the top of the leaderboard with 1260 points over my 1200 points. And he does a little funny zoom on his video, and like I said, give me a minute. Go check it out. It's in the Discord. Nice little YouTube edit that he did there. So yeah, I think that's it for the Podtacular community update. We've got one last update for Infinite for the year. We are into our winter operation named Snowbound, and it includes wintry themed maps. So going into, I forget which playlists, if they specified which ones actually have the wintry maps in them, but we have a whole new set of wintry maps for Operation Snowbound. This is lasting for about 5 weeks. It kicked off this week and is going through the first week in January. We have Snowbound, which is actually Snowbound from Halo 3. Again, shout outs to Unique and his forging crew for bringing this to life. I actually like this version too because it's snowy, but it's kind of a winterized version of what you would imagine the Halo landscape to be. So it has rocky pathways, so it's not just complete snow everywhere like Snowbound in Halo 3, but it definitely fits the theme of Infinite while still being true to the Snowbound feel from Halo 3. There's Snow Ground, which is a snow variant of the high ground Halo 3 map. Snowfire, which is live fire, the actual Infinite map. And then there's a special mode called Snowball Fight. And these will be playable on all three of the snowball, or the snow maps. I don't see what playlist this is in, or if I'm just missing the part in here where it's saying that. Yeah, I'll continue to look through here. There's also the 1v1 Showdown playlist. This was showcased off during the last few HCS events. This has officially come into matchmaking and is in the featured playlist spot. If you had not had a chance to play it out or check it out, it is a little bit sweaty. It's 1v1. That's kind of what you're stuck with. Random loadouts at the start. You have 5 rounds in each section, and you have to win the best 3 out of 5 sections in order to win the match. It's an interesting little twist on things. It kind of reminds me of Breakout a little bit, but this is in the 1v1 sense. And these are all blockout type maps that are portions of maps that you are probably familiar with.
And they have custom modifiers.
They do. And the loadouts are supposed to be random per section. So the type of weapons you get, the type of grenades you get, the power-up that's on that map. It's an interesting concept. I'm not a 1v1 type of person. I'm much more of a team player, objective player. But I did try it out just to see how it felt. I started off well in my game, but then I slowly lost control over the score and lost in the last round. But I like the concept of it. It's something new. It's something different. And I know there's a lot of people out there that like the 1v1 experience. They like to prove their skill. And I think this works really well for them. We've got a whole new Operation 20 tier pass that's available as well. So you can get that in the store for 500 credits, or you can buy the full pass with bonus unlocks, I think, for the 2,000 credits or 2,500 credits. A lot of snowy type armor coatings, armor pieces, weapon coatings. They have some candy cane ones, some snow effect, some gingerbread style things.
I want to be a gingerbread man.
Well, you can.
No, literally. I want my character to look like a gingerbread man. Gingerbread man carrying a rocket launcher.
They have a weapon model. I mean, you could probably get the skin to be as much gingerbread man as you could, but
no, I want to be like, half as thick and 3 times as wide.
With a giant hitbox.
Yeah, sure. But I want to carry
now, would you want to be
launcher.
any generic gingerbread man, or would you want to be like the Shrek gingerbread man?
Which one?
The one from the original one.
So the little one?
With the gumdrop buttons.
Well, of course. You're not a gingerbread man if you don't have gumdrop buttons.
What if the grenades that you threw, you just pulled them from your chest and you chunked a gumdrop and that's the grenade?
Good idea.
Someone work on a mod for that. In the Halo Waypoint article, they also list the updates to the exchange. That's where you can buy things for Spartan points. There are 4 new things, several things from previous winter contingency updates, and other Halo gear updates as well. So that's the update that we have in Infinite. Since this is our last possible show of the year, we thought we would dive into the stuff that we got throughout this year for Halo, which, starting off with this first one, I'm a little surprised this was the thing that we got started off with, but King of the Hill Firefight dropped at the beginning of this year. I forgot that that was this year only. We've only had this for a year.
Not even yet, actually.
Technically, no. We're getting close though. But yeah, Firefight dropped this year as the first thing content-wise out of the year. We had we went from, I forget what was before operations. We had seasons. Then we went to content updates. Our first content update was content update 29 of the year, which that brought the King of the Hill Firefight and also the map Illusion, which is the map that has the long hallway in the middle that turns everyone into instant camo in the middle. That, I think, was a nice surprise for a lot of folks, seeing a new map with new mechanics. Have you played a lot of Firefight, GT?
Not really. Don't get me wrong. It's fun. I'm kind of old school.
For what they've done with it in Infinite, I think they've done probably the best they can do, and it kind of fits with the campaign theme of how they develop some of those encounters.
Mm-hmm. No, don't get me wrong. I mean, they did a good job, and the AI is fun to fight against. It just, I don't know, as brutal as ODST was, I don't know, it seemed more engaging. I guess is the best way I can. I don't know. It was just more of a challenge. And not to say that the new one isn't, especially when you play on higher difficulties. It's just, I don't know, it's just the way they did it originally in ODST. It was more stressful, but it was more fun. Ever since then, it's just kind of seemed like it's gotten easier and easier and easier with every different iteration in different ways. It's like with Reach, they gave you complete control over everything in the game. So, you could go in there and you just obliterate everything. Like I said, for the firefight stuff, it's fun. I just get bored with it pretty quick.
I'd say part of that's probably due to several factors. One being, and we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier when we were talking about the Delta Arena. is the movement is significantly different than it was in ODST. While I appreciate them bringing in the one campaign arena as the launch for this firefight, and it was kind of thematically fit with what that area was. Palace of Pain, right?
Mm-hmm.
For the thematics of the firefight stuff, because that's basically what Eshram said that they did to the UNSC.
I mean, that is exactly the way they described the palace, or the house of, or not.
Palace of Pain?
No, that was Chaklock.
Oh.
Was it the Reverie? No,
that was the downed. Which
that was the down ship.
I finished the Rubicon Protocol, although I did not follow the first half of the book because it was an audio book, and I could not associate. I mean, I got that they were on the Infinity, and it was the whole like exiting the Infinity part of things. But then once they got down to the ring, I was so disconnected up until the part where they talked about the drill and Stone going down into that drill part, and then them going to the Reverie, and when they unlocked the, what's her name, the final boss in Infinite. Why am I blanking on her name? That character.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm blanking on her name at the moment. But so there was a good middle of the section of the book where I just did not have my bearings on where they were or what they were talking about. So I might have to re-listen to it.
I won't lie. It did take a second run through before I actually got my spatial orientation correct. And so I can totally get that. The Endless one is the one you're talking about.
Yeah. Harbinger.
The
Harbinger.
Yeah. But the House of Reckoning.
That's it.
That's what it was. That's what I've been trying to remember for the last 5 minutes.
Hey, we finally got there. If someone has the card up, you can say, we got Halo Fact wrong, I guess, if you want to claim that one.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's, like I said, it's fun. I'm glad they added it because it gives something else to do other than just matchmaking. We got a lot of new game modes this year.
We did. We got the firefight. We got an update to Infection.
Mm-hmm.
We got the update to Stockpile, where it was three seeds.
I think it's still no. I think the seeds are all the same. They're just
spread them out.
They spawn them around the map now instead of grouping them together.
Yeah, it's not one major fight for control. It's just
and you can't run around with the what the hell was it? The equipment,
the repulsor,
and just repulse all 5 of them back to your base while everybody else defends you.
Yeah, we got the Delta Arena playlist. We got the
Delta
squad battles.
Mm-hmm. We got a BTB refresh.
Yep. That's part of content update 29 before
mm-hmm.
We went from seasons to content updates to operations.
No, I can't think I like the season model better.
I did too. I think that was part of the whole studio HR fiasco stuff, unfortunately.
The current system, I don't know, it feels like they're trying to rush you through the pass. And I know why they're doing it. They're trying to encourage you to buy it. That way it never expires. But the deal is they come by so quickly, you've got to rush through the pass so you can go back to complete the other ones. Like,
that's why I have all my boosts. It's like, okay, I can finally use all the boosts that I stored up because I never used them. And basically I'm done with the whole operation in 2 hours.
Yeah,
or maybe 3 if I'm not having a good night.
Yeah, I just don't want to play that hard.
I don't blame you. We had season 2 of the Halo TV show,
mm-hmm.
which we talked about. It's okay. Still not.
I enjoyed it.
Great, but if you again take it for what it is,
it wasn't as cringy as the first season,
right? Not as cringy as the first season. Definitely a dip in quality for the VFX and the scene design and everything. That could definitely use an improvement for next time. The overall story, them trying to kind of course correct and align to the story of Reach and Halo CE and the mainline games, you could kind of see it get there. And then the ending of the season was just like, what?
Yeah,
And now we're stuck in this limbo of, will we ever get a season 3?
Highly doubtful. I mean, it is possible, but as long as it took to get the first 2 seasons off the ground, pretty doubtful, especially with the way the community responded to it. Don't get me wrong, it was one of Paramount's highest watched shows. And that wasn't all us.
Nope.
Don't get me wrong, there was a lot of us that watched it. But there were also a lot of people that watched it that didn't knew Halo by name only.
Well, the other thing too is, while the first season was its most watched series, the viewership on the second one was significantly lower.
Well, it was, yeah. And I'm not saying they didn't make mistakes on that first season. They made mistakes on both seasons. Part of it was story. Part of it was the path they chose to take with the way they directed the story, the VFX that were used. You know, it was a combination of things. I mean, overall, I enjoyed the 2 seasons. Yes, it didn't follow any established canon, and honestly, I didn't really care. They, in my opinion, they actually had, with a few caveats, a pretty decent story. Trust me, there are some books that have been as critically harped on as the series was. And I just don't see. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are some books that are my least favorite books. The little teen novel things are a few of them. They're decent stories, but I didn't really like the way they took that part of the universe, or took the universe in that direction.
Well, what about it? Like the interracial type?
No, just the story itself. I just didn't like the way, the characters are great. I enjoyed the characters. Just the story just didn't have a hook in it that made me want to go back and actually listen to it again. I'm not saying they're bad stories overall. They're just not something I enjoyed. It's like,
and not everything's gonna be that way for everybody. Yeah.
I mean, people criticize the Kilo 5 trilogy, and I love it.
I need to go back and listen to that one, because
I really enjoy the Kilo 5 trilogy. It is not your traditional Halo story. That is for damn sure.
No, but it sets up a lot of the universe that 343 has built. I mean, that was their, between the Greg Bear trilogy and the Kilo 5 trilogy, that was the foundation of where 343 as a studio wanted to take Halo after they got it from Bungie.
Yeah.
That's if you want to know the direction of where Halo was going, those are the 6 books that you need to read.
The only problem
that sets up and makes things that, not to say that that's required reading, but it explains a lot of where they're trying to take it. And honestly, it's like, yeah, you might not like the direction, but it's not necessarily a bad direction.
Yeah.
It's managed to keep the franchise going and give it some interesting backstory to it.
If you want to understand Halo 4 fully, then yes, you do need to read the Greg Bear trilogy.
Well, if you want to understand it in more depth, yes. Yeah. I've had people that I've talked to, coworkers and friends, that say, no, I didn't read the books and I got the whole thing. It's like, okay,
yeah,
more power to you. And there are those people that they don't need the extra detail. I think for us lore nerds, it's like, okay, where did this random set of characters and worlds come from? Oh, here's some literature that gives us a little bit more and makes things more interesting.
Yeah, I'm not saying that 343 totally botched the story in Halo 4. Matter of fact, it's one of my highest rated stories. I loved it. I just think that they could have did a little bit better job of introducing the characters earlier in the game, so that it was a little less of a shocker transition.
there was definitely some improvements
You know,
they could
kind
have
of like
done to the storytelling.
my initial thoughts on Infinite without playing. I hadn't played through the entire campaign yet. I wanted more of how did we get here? You know, how did we get to this point where Chief is floating in space? But they did a good job of throughout the entire campaign explaining the opening.
And if you had played Halo Wars 2, at least there was that connection of, okay, you
Right.
know who.
Well, I mean, even with the Banished being a brand new enemy in the mainline games, they did a good job of introducing the Banished.
Yeah, it felt refreshing. It didn't feel like you were completely out of the loop.
Right. For the people that are lore nerds and that have played all the games, we got a new character.
What was going on. Yeah.
We knew what was going on, but we still got a new character, so we had someone new to learn about. You know, in the form of Eshram and the Blade Master, and you know, we got characters that we had, you know, that we got to know. Anyway, let's see, what else did we get this year?
We got the combat workshops. That was where we had several rotations of Forge things rotate in. So the Forge Falcons had their Call of Duty like zombies mode that was in rotation, I think twice. Yeah, twice this year. There was another combat workshop. I'm blinking on what it is at the moment. I'm scrolling through the news posts from Halo in Discord. We also got the introduction of the exchange, which I think was largely praised by the community as an alternate way to earn cosmetics without having to pay money.
Although I would have liked to see the spark points be used in the store too, but okay, yeah. Fair enough. There is a partial win there.
Yeah. We have several Waypoint Chronicles, which I think I read one of the 6 or 7 that came out this year. I need to actually go and read, adding to the collection of things to read and talk about.
Yeah, how's Virgil going?
My current so funny story. I can't remember if I talked about this on here, but I think most people know at this point I take on way much more than I can handle, right? So I've been toying around with taking care of things around the house, because if you all could see on the other side of the camera, it's a war zone, it was a war zone until my parents were here last week for Thanksgiving and helped get some things in order. So now we've got overhead hanging racks in our garage, or in my garage. We put one up just to kind of get a bearing of how it's going to fit. Going to install the remaining 5 next weekend, and hopefully that'll give us plenty of storage space. And the idea is if we get stuff into those bins that are hanging from the garage, we can get stuff off the shelves, and I can put stuff that's in here up there and get this clear out. So once the house is a little bit in order, then maybe I can start looking into Virgil. And I've been watching, there's a content creator goes by Theo or T3. I don't know if I've heard of him, but he's pretty big in the programming scene. Was a engineer at Twitch for a while and bumped around, and now kind of does his own thing. But I've been watching a lot of videos about TypeScript and what stacks work well, and utilizing GPTs to help work on code more quickly and efficiently. So I've been dabbling into it, just trying to actually put priorities in order of what's more important. And right now, getting the house in order is more important. But I've had this other tangent of, okay, I had a spark of childhood come back in a game called Lego Racers, which was a game put out by Lego Media in 1999. And there's several modding tools, and unfortunately the modding scene for that is kind of small, but it's like, you know what, that's an old enough game where I could probably mod my own maps into it and mod my own whole campaign to it. And it's like, yeah, that's 3 years, which I don't currently have time to do, and I don't know why I have this fixation. My mind's just like tied to this thing, and it's like, no, I've got other priorities. Stop that.
trust me, I understand.
But yes, Virgil is still on the back of my mind as something I want to do. There's a couple of things that I need to.
I have a project sitting in my garage that was supposed to be gone a year and a half ago.
But I'm kind of stuck at this point where I'm kind of generating all these ideas on how I want to do things, but I need to find a starting point. And I need to figure out if the starting point is just trying to build the logic behind some of it, the integrations behind some of it, the web UI part of it, developing the workflow for how I would set up the framework for Virgil with the backend, with the database, with the workflow with Trello and GitHub, and deployment. Do I deploy to a VPS? Do I deploy to a Docker? There's so many different aspects of programming, and I don't really have a base because I haven't really done a project like this since the first time I tried Virtual, and it was just kind of a hobby. So I'm kind of stuck in this analysis paralysis, and I need to get out of that so I can actually start working on Virtual. Anyways, another tangent. Yeah, we got the EMP returning to the plasma pistol on vehicles. That was reintroduced back into the game.
Mm-hmm.
Grenades having motion effect on players. That was reintroduced, so you could actually nade jump. Player collision with the introduction of the Delta Arenas playlist. The match composer was brought into Halo Infinite, so we can go in each of one of the playlists and select which modes that you want to play. Not as intuitive and flexible as the MCC one. I feel like MCC is almost like, with how much development hell MCC went through, it's probably the pinnacle Halo experience that you will ever play.
As far as the UI, I can agree with that.
I mean, gameplay aside, because I mean, each engine.
Well, gameplay is gameplay.
Yeah, but as far as the experience of navigating through the game and getting to everything that you need, the challenges, the cosmetics, the unlock system, the way that you can tailor your playing experience through the custom games browser, through the match composer, diving into campaign playlists, firefight, even having the custom firefight options for Halo 3 ODST. Like, that is the ultimate Halo experience that you can ever play. And every once in a while you can get it for $20 on Steam. And it's like, that's one of the best values in gaming that you will ever have. Hands down. Several different operations and battle passes. We had Tenrai 4. We had the Yappening come back. We had Cyber Showdown Volume 3 come through. Several different operations that are kind of new. We had Anvil that came in. We had updates to Forge palettes. We had a Flood and Alien World Forge palette, along with a Covenant palette theme at the beginning of the year that came into Forge, which gave some additional spice to Forge maps, which even before then, people were making incredible maps, and adding the Covenant stuff in there made the Midship remake for the Delta Arena possible, which even with that version, I still hate Midship. That is going to be one of my Halo hot takes for the rest of my life is Midship is, I don't like it. It's, to me, it's a trash map.
It's been overdone. That's for sure. I enjoyed Midship the first 2 times. They were fun. And I could overlook the problems I had with the maps. But it's been overdone now. Okay? Enough with Midship.
The only thing is the competitive players like it. That's the, to them, that is the pinnacle map.
Then somebody can put it in the competitive playlist where I don't have to look at it. I'm done with it.
We had also in the Combat Workshop multi-team. I forgot about that. That was in for a little while.
I'd still like to see them bring back Rocket Race.
Oh, that'd be so much fun. There's some good, like, some of the BTB maps that are in Infinite would be perfect for Rocket Race.
Imagine.
I imagine it has to be doable. With the race game modes that people have been making in Infinite since the beginning, Like even within the first year, the race community
Well, I mean,
game mode for Infinite was
even in Reach, it wasn't really. They just put up gates. I mean, honestly, you could do it with hills if you wanted to. All it is, you're just racing from point to point. Is the way it worked in Reach. But I miss that game type and how glitchy it got on Hemorrhage.
the game physics is what made it fun.
I don't know how many times either depending on which version, the Warthog or the Mongoose would get shot and then flip upside down, and then you were stuck in the map staring at the ceiling.
I didn't really get that many issues with Hemorrhage.
Oh, I did.
Or on Rocket Race.
Okay. Generally, it happened more on Rocket Hog Race.
Okay.
The multi-team version of Rocket Hog Race. It wasn't as prevalent on the just regular Mongoose. I don't know, something about the physics of the Warthog. There was multiple times I got actually stuck in the geometry of the map, whether it be the ground or a wall or something. I mean, basically all you had to do was just get out of the vehicle and it'd spawn a new one and you'd be off again. But I enjoyed those a lot. I would like to see more of those game types come to Infinite. Just the fun, don't give a crap, stupid game types.
I mean, that's Action Sack.
Yeah.
That's something to throw into. Well, they don't have Action Sack in Halo Infinite, but Quick Play.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I need to go check, I guess, the file shares to see if there's a Rocket. There's got to be a Rocket Race. That's not a hard thing to implement in the Halo Infinite Forge. Like that should be easily doable, I imagine.
But like I said, I just stuff like that. I'd like to have a match-made version of that stuff, because sometimes you just want to get on the game and go be silly for a while.
Yeah.
Go do stuff that doesn't care if you're good. Just fun.
Yeah.
Like Dodgeball, Rocket Hog Race, freaking any number of 100 other ones.
Dodgeball is kind of coming back with the snowball fight with the winter update.
True.
So that's kind of ish there.
Mm-hmm.
We also had the VIP game mode, along with Headhunter, make its return to Halo Infinite.
Both were pretty fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the VIP a little bit more than the Headhunter.
Yeah, I was going to say, Headhunters feels a little clunky in Infinite. Like, it's the same mechanics, but it's just that I think it's more just the Infinite gameplay in Headhunter is like, yeah, technically it's Headhunter, but it feels really different. And that's probably just the game mechanics again. The mode itself is solid.
I've never really been big on the Headhunter game type anyway, so because I ain't good at the game, so it doesn't matter.
We got Alpha Zombies as a new game mode. We also got 2 new weapons. We have the VK-78, which is the upgraded Commando, and the MA5K. Those were 2 new weapons that got brought into the sandbox. We had the Firefight update for Battle for Reach, which brought in Reach Forged maps, which I really actually enjoyed the Reach Firefight when it was in. I played several nights of that, and it was a lot of fun. I didn't know that 343 did this, but they actually uploaded the Mona Lisa to YouTube, the motion comic.
Yeah.
I saw that tonight when I was pulling the new videos for the pre-roll. But they dropped that in here.
That is disturbing, just to let everybody know, if you've not watched it.
Yeah.
It gives the flood a whole new look.
Yep. There were new Jeff Steitzer and Commander Agrina lines added to Forge. Third-person camera was introduced. It's still in beta testing at the moment for the most part, but that's something that was introduced this year.
Well, considering 4 months ago it was a debugging tool, I think they're doing okay.
Right. There's the improvements to the map and mode credits for whenever you're playing a match in matchmaking or custom games. The ability to instantly save the mode and map that you're playing, even in game, is a huge addition to I mean, that's a new thing for Halo in general. Like, you couldn't do that. You could do that post game,
Yeah, you do it post game,
but you
but you
couldn't
couldn't
do it
do it
mid
while you
game.
were playing.
Yeah, couldn't do it mid game. And believe it or not, that got us through most of this year.
So we got a lot of improvements to Infinite this year.
We
A
did.
lot of new options, a lot of new game types.
And there were several people out there that were saying Halo Infinite's dead, and we got a lot of content that dropped this year.
Mm-hmm. Well, they've been saying Halo Infinite's dead since it launched.
I think people have been saying Halo's dead, but as far as
Yeah.
Halo Infinite, I think that was kind of...
No, it wasn't too
Once
long
they
after
started
it
killing
launched.
off the seasons and going to content updates, that's when people were like, yeah, Halo Infinite's done. But there's been a lot of people that have been saying they were happy to be proven wrong, that Halo Infinite they're still putting effort into.
Yeah. I do miss the fact that there's no story.
I miss that
No
too.
additional story.
Yeah.
I would like to have seen them finish the story that they were telling before they cut it off, which I guess they kind of did, but not really.
They tried to put a bow on it, but since there was so much more to the story that they were still planning, it just felt kind of like, okay, you didn't really wrap this up. It's just kind of forced it to end.
But all in all, I think for Halo in general, it's been a good year.
Yeah, it really has. So what are your top things for the year for Halo? Out of everything we just kind of went through, or if it's not even that, it's something else. Oh, I guess one other thing that we did have, the third season of HCS, that was a thing. Space Station Gaming won the championships, so we've had 3 different champions for each year of the Infinite HCS, which is good. And we had our first international player take the championship trophy, which is great for the scene because that means international is getting up to par with the US players, which it's been primarily a US dominant esport, and now we're seeing international players make a stand. So all of that we've gone through.
Yeah. I mean, for me,
top things for the year.
The top thing for the year is the fact that everything is still growing. Just the whole package. Yeah, there's things that I'm not as happy about and things that are better, but as a package deal, I just enjoyed the whole package as a whole that we got this year. Like I said earlier, I wish they would have stuck with seasons. I enjoyed the seasons better. I liked that. I liked that I could buy this next season with the previous season's points, stuff like that. I don't, I don't like the way some of the marketplace stuff is. But, all in all, I think it's been a good year. And I've had a lot of fun playing it. I don't play near as much as I used to. I flat just don't have the time or the energy. Sometimes it's even a struggle just to stay awake long enough to do the podcast, let alone game nights. But yeah, I enjoyed everything for the most part. It's just been a good year.
Very good. I think the things that have been highlights for me, one of the big ones was finally getting back to the Worlds. I missed the last year because of the birth of our son, and it was nice being able to see friends again, being able to kind of be in that atmosphere and just feel the electricity around people really being excited about Halo and get to meet up with all my Halo friends that I have. So that was that was a big return for me just personally because I'd been away from it the previous year. The Halo Studios change and the move to Unreal, I think, was probably one of the big announcements of the year, and it's going to be really interesting to see the future of Halo. I think this is kind of one last hoorah Hail Mary that Halo has to really say, yes, we're here and we're here to stay. And I hope that they capitalize on that and they pull from experience and seeing what made the Bungie games great as far as what they thought was important to put into a game versus what's going to make Microsoft the most money. And I know that's really fighting an uphill battle because Microsoft's in the business to make money. But I want to be hopeful that given the strong vocal opinions of, unfortunately, it's the vocal minority, the people that have been around and are really invested in Halo, but given the criticism that Microsoft, Xbox, and 343, and now Halo Studios has received over the development of Halo Infinite, the experience of Halo Infinite, the content that we've gotten, I hope that they can take that constructively, see what people love about MCC and past Halo experiences, and really give us the best Halo product that we can get with Unreal. Unreal is going to make development a lot easier because the game industry as a whole is very familiar with Unreal, which is going to make adapting to the tool sets a lot easier. So there won't be as much technical debt into maintaining a separate engine and building the game, as instead of just like focusing on the Halo experience instead of the engine experience. So trying to be hopeful that new leadership is empowered to make the choices, and Microsoft, hopefully, and Xbox to that matter, take the feedback that has been critically given from the community. And there's been some people that have been more violent about it and some people that have been more peaceful about it. But overall, take the criticisms and actually give us a product that is worthy of the Halo title. There's been so many good things that have been iterated on. Bungie did so much to iterate on every single game, which is why Halo was so pivotal on every generation. Even Halo Reach, with the fact that it brought in Sprint, which a lot of people didn't like, Armor Lock and everything, Reach was still regarded as a great game. And each game brought something new to the table. And not to say that Halo 4 through Halo Infinite hasn't brought new things, but the overall experience outside of just playing in a match itself has significantly degraded over the lifespan. And MCC is really, I think, the pinnacle of that for what 343, now Halo Studios, has. Well, I'll say 343. Halo Studios as a new organization, we'll say, is kind of a new start. So that gives me some hope, but again, trying to be hopefully and cautiously optimistic with what they can do.
Yeah, they're definitely not off the hook.
No, they're not.
They have to deliver. And I don't want a cookie cutter of Halo 2 or CE or Halo 3. I want them to build their game. Build the game that they want to. And own it. Don't get me wrong. There's been a lot of good feedback that has been given to the 343, and they do need to listen to it. But I will tell you right now, if you try to please everybody in this community, you're screwed. Because you will not. There is no way you will please everybody.
And I'm not saying as a longtime Halo fan, because I got my start.
All I'm saying is for them to decide what they're going to build, take the feedback that they've got, address as much of it as they can within reason, because Sprint's not going away, armor abilities aren't going to go away, and I don't think they should. But build your game and stick with it. I'm not saying don't change it, but I mean, some of the biggest problems that we've had over the years is 343 folding to a bunch of loudmouths on Twitter. You know, things that were changed just because a small group of people said, well, we don't like this. You should have never done this. Okay, fine. You're entitled to that opinion. But you know, I mean, you gotta kind of stick with your guns a little bit. I mean, it is your game. We will tell you if we like it or not. If we don't like it, then it's not gonna make sales. Build the best game that you can that fits within what is expected of Halo. Is all I want them to do. There's not a whole lot of innovating that they can do on a shooter anymore. Pretty much, you name it, it's been done. The thing with Halos 1, 2, and 3 is they were unique in the market. They were the only games out there doing what they were doing. COD wasn't doing what they were doing. There was no other game that was an equivalent to Halo. It was that different. So it had a sizable advantage over other games out there. That advantage is no longer available because it's not the new thing anymore. There's several games that take the same concept, name it different things, but it's the same gameplay.
Yeah.
So Halo will never be what it was because that market just doesn't exist anymore. All I want, and I want a good game that's stable, that has a reasonable number of features at launch. In the case of Halo, it must have a deep catalog of game types at launch, including most of the classic game types.
Working Forge at launch.
A working Forge is, in my opinion, required.
A customization system that is actually customizable.
A customization that meets the promises that you set forth in your marketing. Don't promise reach level customization and not deliver it.
Not deliver.
On the campaign side, I want a good story that is well thought out and well executed, that ties into Infinite and moves the story forward. Even if that moves the story into a new character or a new lead character for the series. Because God knows Steve Downes is not going to do this forever.
I wonder if they would just make get his permission to make an AI voice of him.
I think the AI voices are going to have to go a little bit further.
Well, yeah.
Because everything I've heard on the professional level, still kind of... Anyway, I'm not saying it can't be done. But the actors that play these voices in all these games, most of them are past retirement age. So it's the story's going to have to move on eventually. Just a matter of when. But I would like to see a good starting point on the campaign side to continue the story and continue it in a way that it continue for a long time. Because I would like to still be invested in this story for, I don't know, I got 30 years left before I'm dead. So, I'd like to have something to read for the next 30 years. But, I just, on the story side, I want something good. I want something that I can play and, that is always there for me to have access to. I mean, it's like here recently, I've actually been playing through Halo 4, the campaign. And I don't care what anybody says about the story. It's a great story. I felt the need to play through the campaign again and experience Halo 4 as it was back in the day. And I'm enjoying it, actually.
Good for you.
I'm also remembering all the stuff I forgot about it, too. Anyway, but that's what I'm looking forward to. And I hope next year we start getting some information on that, especially timelines.
Well, we had a little bit longer of an episode. I didn't know we would actually go nearly 2 hours on this one, but hey, not a way to wrap up the year. Not a bad way to wrap it up. So thank you for sticking with us throughout the year. We've had a lot of ups and downs with life going on, with other events being sick and holidays recently. Thanks for sticking around for those that have. Handling our transition, going over to hosting on Spotify, some other changes to the podcast and the community side of things. We do that just out of passion. We're not trying to get anything out of it. It's just more we're here because we love Halo, and hopefully we can continue to do that in the year to come. So, in case this is our last podcast of the year, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you into the next year. More Infinite stuff coming out. Hopefully, hear more about what Halo's cooking up on Unreal. Another round of HCS. We'll be back at Worlds. Next year is Podtacular's 20-year anniversary, and we're trying to see if we can get something alongside the Worlds to go on with that. Maybe rent a big Airbnb and do a Halo LAN party. Maybe a little bit classic style, maybe a little modern style. We'll see how things can pan out. Meet some of the old Podtacular staff. Lots of things coming to fruition next year. So, with that said, have a good night, have a good morning, wherever you're listening. Thanks again, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thank you for listening to Podtacular, the unofficial Halo Universe podcast. You can find our podcast on your favorite podcasting service and listen to us live every Thursday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Twitch. Check out our website, podtacular.com, and join the community on Discord at podtacular.com/discord. If you want to play Halo with us, come join us for Fraggin' Fridays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Become a supporter of the show by sharing the show with your friends and family. Or help keep the lights on by subscribing to us on Twitch, donating via PayPal, or becoming a patron alongside Confal, Pins Halo, and Prestige Ace. Until next time, keep on fragging trucks.